Okay, I'd like to call to order the regular scheduled meeting of the Elk Grove Park District for April 27th, 2023. Roll call, please.
President Cook,
Here.
Commissioner Carlson,
Here.
Commissioner Walls,
Here.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Here.
and Commissioner Biecki is absent.
Okay, next I have approval of the minutes. All in favor of approving the April 13th, 2023 Committee of the Whole minutes and regular meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Show 4-0 pass. Public communication, comments from the audience.
Mr. President, I do not have any comments to offer at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alan. Anybody else in the audience have any comments? This time. Correspondence, do any commissioners have any correspondence?
Nothing.
Okay. Introduction of special guests. We have guests from Elk Grove Youth Football and Cheerleading. Come on up to the mic, state your name and,
Yeah, my name is Ralph Sauter. I think I've met some of you guys over the years. I'm here on behalf of Elk Grove Youth Football. I'm here with Janice Cavaliers, and she's our cheer coordinator, and Dan DiMaria, he's our league coordinator. I am the flag football coordinator. And that's what we're gonna talk about first. So, registration is open. Can they zoom in on this?
Sure, it's channel
There
6.
they go.
They can do anything. She's.
Well, that's all right. These things ought to be all over the neighborhood, not so much in one place after tonight. Anyway, we wanted to talk a little bit, as I said, youth football registration is open right now. I want to talk a little bit about flag football. It's for 5, 6, and 7-year-old kids. It's been my pleasure to be back with flag football for the last 5 years, something like that. I started with flag football in the 90s, went through when I became a commissioner, and then I'm back in it now, loving it. We had a great year last year. The kids lost their first 2 games, tied 1 and then 1 out, 5 games in a row. But more importantly, they had fun. And that's what the flag football program is all about. It's 9-on-9. Obviously, you have soft helmets, flags hanging down, beautiful uniforms, and the kids just had a blast. Maybe highlighted by the year-end parents' kids scrimmage, which ended up being the kids against a bunch of the Elk Grove High School football players who came over and played a game against our little kids this big, and they had a riot with that. It's just a great program. I mean, if you know anybody who had a kid in flag football, ask them about it, they'll tell you. It's just a wonderful program, and I hope all the 5, 6, and 7-year-old kids who aren't otherwise playing soccer or whatever will give it a shot, because it's as I said, a great program. We're growing. Dan's going to talk more about the new league we're in, but we're still trying to work out a schedule for flag. Should be 8 to 10 games, and try and get a bowl game in at the end of the year, which is always fun. And that's about all I got to say for flag. So with that, Janice, come talk about cheer.
Hi. Cheer is, so we have 2 programs basically for cheer. We have flag, which is our kindergarten and first graders. They cheer only at football games on sidelines. It's cute. They love it. It's a great introduction to competition, which is our big favorite thing. This year, we're growing slowly. We had 2 teams when we started. I came back about 5 years ago also. And when we started with 2 teams, this year we're anticipating 4. Our squads, they compete for ICA, which is Illinois Cheerleading Association. Our squads have always qualified for state. We brought home 2 third-place trophies. This year we'll bring home more. Take some away from SAA maybe. But competition is great for the girls. It gives them a lot of confidence. It gives them sportsmanship. So flag is 125, kindergarten first graders. Our competition squads are 2nd grade or teens. 3rd grade is minis. Juniors are 4th, 5th grade, and seniors are 6th, 7th, 8th. And spread the word. We want more girls. We love more girls.
I'm named Dan DiMaria. I've been involved with the program for almost over 20 years with Elk Grove football. We've done a lot. We changed leagues this year. We're now in the TCYFL. I think it's better competition for our level of kids and the number of kids we have. We're also going to be playing a lot more local towns in the area. We're not going to be getting up at like Ralph had to do it 5:30 in the morning for a 7 o'clock flag game in Waswego. So we're playing a lot more closer towns. Our program has grown. We do a winter training camp in the winter. It's every Sunday for like 2 hours. We have sometimes former NFL players come out and help work with the kids. Janice's husband, Jim, does a great job. He runs the winter program. Then we do a 7-on-7 program that's going on right now. We play every Sunday. That program has grown 30% from last year, so our second year doing it. We're really involved with the high school. My goal with that is our coaches and referees are all Elk Grove football players. And they come out and the younger kids just love it. And Danny O'Donnell, the new head coach at Elk Grove, has made a strong presence and he wants to be involved in seeing everything out. Our last day is May 7th. The high school kids are wearing their jerseys and the younger kids are just like thrilled about that. They want to get pictures with them. It's a great thing. And then we do our summer camp. That's going to be a calf this year. That'll be 2 days a week, and that's run by Sam, one of our field coordinators. And that's going to, because we officially start July 31st. That's our first day of practice. It's a 9-week season with a new league, with playoffs and championships. One thing else we're doing this year, sign-ups is May 6th. And what we're doing this year, we're doing like a signing day. We're going to have a Elk Grove Youth Football commitment letter. We're going to have a background and helmets and cheer stuff on the tables and have the kids sign like they're actually doing a college signing day. I think that's going to be a big thing. The younger kids are going to like that. We're going to start that all up. And then tackle football this year is $385 and flag is $145. If you've got any questions, just reach out to any of the board members. And thank you for your time.
Hey, Dan?
Hey, Ralph and Dan, I got one question too. When the media and the medical field started addressing the concussions, 3 years ago, our program took a hit. A lot of parents said, nope, I'm not going to put them in there. It's not worth it, etc. So Ralph and I talked a little bit, and has there been additional discussion? Do you think you'd be cannibalizing your program if you raised the flag level up a little bit? Would you be stealing from the parents that would normally play tackle anyway, and now they would go to flag? So have you ever thought about adding additional flag teams at a higher level?
We discussed that. Our concern is losing the kids in tackle now. Helmets are a lot better. Concussion rule in football is down. We just met with a company, has a cap that goes over the helmets that we're looking into. But the helmets have improved a lot since back in the day. I mean, you and I played with the little foam in the helmets. But,
So the other thing is, in the new league, as it was with BGYFL, all the coaches are required to go through a certification process that includes the heads-up tackling techniques. There are no more of the tumble drills and the things we all grew up with, banging heads against each other. We just don't do that anymore. So I can't remember any time last year where we had a head trauma.
we had none last year.
Yeah, we had no head trauma issues. I'm talking about like we would sit kids out if they got hit pretty hard as a precautionary measure, but we didn't have any long-standing injuries from concussion related injuries or anything like that. I'm not going to say it's never going to happen because, quite frankly, I got a concussion coming out my front door and fell off the steps. True story.
The one also, at every home game we have at Elk Grove, we do have a licensed trainer at every game. And that's one of the requirements that we brought on as a committee in Elk Grove. Since some of the other towns have a trainer there too, but we pay for our trainer. He's there from the first game till the end of the game, every home game.
And you are.
I'm also certified with first aid and stuff too, so I'm also there at the practice fields and everything, so.
Okay.
yes.
I know you wanted to say
Well,
something.
no, it kind of, the answer to the question, I was going to say, talk a little bit about the safety changes that have taken place, because I know a lot of people were afraid to send their kids and have them get hurt or concussions.
Well,
And I know there's been a lot of things as far as training the coaches, as Ralph mentioned, about how they tackle, and the different drills they do are a lot different than what we used to do back in the day.
Yeah, some of those
So
drills have
that makes a
been
difference.
outlawed. Yeah, some of the drills you're not allowed to do anymore, and also that test that every coach has to go through in our program and any other program, it's crazy. It's like it's almost 3 hour long test. I mean, they cover safety, you name it, it's covered in this test. And it's about 3 hours this test takes to take it.
Yeah.
It's a tough test. And you can't speed up the video and go to the questions. You have to look at, there's no speeding up. You have to sit down and physically take this. And every coach that takes it, I get the receipt that they passed the class. So you can't be on the field. Come July 31st, if you didn't take that background, that test, you can't come out on the field.
Yeah.
That's how serious it is and how serious we are about the
That's
safety of the
That's
kids.
just taking it.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
pass it, yeah, you can't just take it.
Okay.
You have to pass it, that's the big thing. And the safety of the kids is the big thing, that's the growth of the program. You know, you wanna keep growing.
Right.
And every year we are getting back to the numbers, or they're going up every year, so.
Okay.
I think.
Good.
Thank you. Any other questions, guys? Thank you, and once again, you don't have to stay. If you're welcome to stay, you don't have to. Next on the list, a special guest, Katie Dunn, our aquatics manager. Just come on up and,
We can introduce Katie. Katie's new, well, she's not new, but
New-ish.
new-ish.
I have about 6 months with the district.
Right, so I'm gonna read a little introduction and then she's gonna address the board. So Katie Dunn got her first Park District job at 16 as a lifeguard in Texas. Working as a lifeguard, she fell in love with serving people in her community. Since then, she has earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in Communication Studies and a Master's of Science degree in Recreation Management and Policy. As a professional, she has managed recreation centers on college campuses and in park districts across the country. She has a passion for mentorship, working with high school and college students, and helping them grow into young adults. In her free time, she loves being active and hanging out with her family. She is currently training for the Detroit Marathon. And her training buddies are her 6-month-old son and 5-pound dog.
and anything you want to add to that glorious introduction?
Nothing exciting to add to that. Exciting news in the aquatics department. Today, we passed the 100 lifeguard mark higher. 100 lifeguard. I'm really excited about that. So we still got some more hiring to do. Got to get all 100 of those lifeguards trained. But definite progress that we're very proud of. So.
Yes, anything that, any pitch you want to make to anybody that might be listening that wants to be a lifeguard? So we still are hiring.
Yes,
I know,
we are still hiring.
we wanna be able to keep Rainbow Falls open
cashiers,
and all of
flight
that.
attendants. We are pretty much full on camp counselors and swim instructors as well, so that's another good mark. But we are hiring lifeguards still, cashiers, flight attendants. Best summer job you'll ever have. I think I stayed in it, so I think it's the best summer job you'll ever have. And great benefits, so you get a membership to the water park, to the fitness center, and a lot of fun.
What are the age restrictions?
Yeah, so you have to be 15 or older to be a lifeguard, and you have to be 16 or older to be a slide attendant.
Okay. Any other questions?
Welcome.
Okay, welcome and thank you.
Thank you.
Summer's just around the corner, so
Only 30 days left.
we're looking forward to it. Okay, next is Aquatic Operation Supervisor Katie Nelson.
Yes, so Kate Nelson got her start in Parks and Recreation as a lifeguard at 16 as well, but with the Elmhurst Park District. She continued to work part-time with the Oak Brook Park District for over 15 years, and it's there that she found her passion for aquatics. After graduating from Northern Illinois University with a bachelor's degree in marketing, Kate entered the private sector while maintaining her part-time aquatics position. She has since pursued a full-time career in aquatic recreation and enjoys community involvement, mentoring young people, and being a champion for water safety. Outside of work, Kate loves do-it-yourself projects at home, being active, and spending time with her family, friends, and her dog, Reptar.
Hello. Welcome.
So Kate is our aquatics operations person, so she supervises our lifeguards, our cashiers, that sort of thing.
Come on, Kate.
Okay, come on up.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
So I'll ask a question about, in the past, we've had problems getting the residents at Rainbow Falls especially through the line at the beginning of the day. Can you talk about some things you're gonna do to improve that and get them through so they don't have to wait a half hour, an hour to get into the park?
Jeez,
Absolutely.
welcome to Tom's Corner.
Hard hitting.
So it's gonna be an interesting start to the year, knowing that I I got to see Rainbow Falls open for the very last day it was open. That was my first week here. Kate has not gotten to see Rainbow Falls open, so we have lots of ideas. I know we have been working on some signage, we've been working on staffing up a little bit better than last summer. Lots of ideas. I don't know that we have a good answer for you yet, knowing that we haven't seen Rainbow Falls.
Here comes Jeff.
The person behind you is your resource.
It will be better. You can mark.
Many have
Yeah, I
tried
know
before you.
we made great
That's all I
strides
can
last,
say.
towards the middle and end of the season. And I know that's a big pet peeve for the people that want to go.
Well, Jeff, talk about the lines, how we've separated the lines to make the residents who have pool passes move through quicker.
Absolutely. So we
Huge
have done
improvement.
some stuff, and as you've seen over the years, we've tried lots of different things. We've done stuff with different queuing lines. The beginning of the year, you're gonna notice something different, a little bit more exciting. We're gonna put more registration inside the community center, so we're not renting that space out. So we're gonna allow that as a pass-through for pass holders and for individuals who are buying memberships. So our members are gonna get in really quick opening weekend, which is everybody wants to get out to that water park and make sure that they're good to go. We've added additional stations. IT has done a great job, so thank you to Brad's staff for providing us tablets. So towards the end of middle of last year, we added a station where we could take credit cards through tablets. We added another line. We really didn't have, like, I know everybody remembers the days when there was lots of complaints. We really didn't have any complaints last year with regards to our lines. And we were very significantly short-staffed. We didn't have an aquatics manager. We now have a great aquatics manager on hand and some great other aquatics professionals that you're going to continue to get introduced to.
Yeah, okay, we're looking forward to it. Sorry for that tough question. I knew. And next, we have another aquatics supervisor, Andrew Little.
Andrew Little. So Andrew Little was on the swim team from age 8 to 18 before landing his first Park District job at age 16 as a lifeguard at the Bartlett Aquatic Center. Andrew has always had a passion for teaching swim lessons and lifeguard classes. After spending time working for private swim schools, Andrew worked at the Lombard Park District while earning a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in film and television. Andrew has built a career in aquatics and is excited to be working for the Elk Grove Park District. When not at work, Andrew enjoys hanging out with friends and family, mentoring creatives, and playing board games. So Andrew is our aquatics program supervisor, so our aqua camp, our swimming lessons, our swim team, that sort of thing.
Think deep, Tom. You got something for him?
Softball question?
What happens if somebody wants to throw a lane?
I missed the question.
You got any questions?
No,
Go ahead.
welcome though.
Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Hey, Jeff, while you are here with Katie, have you seen a change in behavior from the people when we did the pricing change for upstairs, the pavilion, where we said if you no longer want to use the aquatics, then don't go downstairs? So have we seen a drop in enrollment? Have we seen a drop in revenue, an increase in revenue? How has that change in our enrollment changed the aquatics operation?
So you're talking specifically about the fitness only pass or?
Yes, yes. The people that used to be a member could go down there, and it was kind of skewed because a lot of people, we were contributing to the aquatics budget, but people weren't using the pool.
Right.
So now that they're no longer using the, are we taking a hit because of that?
I don't think we are. The numbers haven't indicated at this point. Actually, we are doing way better in our memberships. I think the last I heard is 2,530,
Correct,
I think,
yeah.
something like that. So our numbers upstairs are growing. I think that what we're gonna see is some significant change through the course of this year. We have some exciting projects I'm sure that Mark's talked about, or maybe we'll talk about at some point on air. So I don't want to steal his thunder, but we're gonna do some things with the rejuvenation area, and that's a space that is allowed in our all access, but not allowed in our fitness only. I don't think it has taken, I don't think it's played any part in regards to our memberships at Pavilion Aquatic Center. We really didn't hear any negative feedback with regards to any of our pricing changes that I'm aware of. The only comment that I had received back from a community member was with regards to early bird pricing. That was just last week. So even if we had offered early bird pricing, that time period would have been expired at that point anyway. But that's literally the only negative information I've heard with regards to any of the changes, whether it be fitness center, Pavilion Aquatic Center, and or Rainbow Falls.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah,
Okay.
a little bit too early to tell.
Yeah,
It's
we gotta see how the numbers shake out over the summer.
But I think for the people that weren't using the pool, and now they can pay a lower rate for the amenities they were using, I think they're excited about that. And I've heard positive comments about the lower price. Now,
Yeah,
maybe in the winter when they want to go swimming, and they might not like it, or like you say, the renovations that we're doing up there, they're going to include massage chairs and some of the other things that all access will have access to at no charge. You may have some people grumbling about that, but to me, that's an opportunity to maybe sell that space and maybe have an add-on where if you're a member, you can buy into that at a price.
yeah, we absolutely have no qualms at upgrading anybody's membership, so if they
Yeah.
feel that they need that additional services, we would be happy to upgrade them into that new membership, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right, it's a little early to tell as far as how the financials are gonna break out, but I do think that we did hear comments for lots of years that I've been here with regards to like, I never use the pool, but why is it my membership? So, and I know Billy
Yeah.
brought that up in the past with us, and I think we've addressed that issue, and I think it's been positive, and I agree.
Yeah.
So far, I've heard no complaints, we'll see how it all shakes out at the end of the year.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Okay, thank you. Okay, next special guest here, we have the AARP tax preparer representatives, Fred Janowski and Roger Soskop. Soskop, okay. Come on up and the lifesavers for our seniors there.
That's right, that's right. One thing I wanted to do was mention a milestone. You know, Fred has been volunteering with the program for 20 years now. And that's pretty amazing. And he spent 35 years as an executive at Allstate Insurance. I don't know if he thought he'd have another career for another 20 years and going with the tax.
Yeah.
I mean, just congratulations, Fred.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm Roger Soskop. I'm the local coordinator for the AARP Tax Aid Program at Elk Grove Park District. We're at the Senior Center. I'm also the district coordinator for the northwest suburbs. We have 8 sites where we do taxes. If you're not familiar with tax aid, it's part of the AARP Foundation, which is the nonprofit arm of AARP. And together with the IRS, they oversee the program. We're really basically made up of 30,000 volunteers around the country with about 10 paid staff in Washington, D.C. So it's truly a volunteer-driven organization that prepares about 3 million taxes a year. We're the largest free tax-based preparation and advice program in the country. All of our volunteers, we have to get certified every single year. It doesn't matter how experienced you are, you have to get certified every year. Tax law changes every year. Here at Elk Grove, our season started on February 1st and we ended on April 14th, Friday, April 14th. And we're open on Wednesdays and Fridays. We had 18 volunteers divided between the different assignments. We have client facilitators, are the folks that greet the people when they come in, check their IDs, make sure they have all their paperwork, get them started on their intake document. Then we have tax preparers, and then quality reviewers. So anyone who prepares a tax return, it gets quality reviewed by a second tax preparer to make sure there's no errors and make sure for accuracy. Last year when I was here, I talked about wanting to get back to the pre-COVID level we had in 2019, where we did about 490 some odd returns. Last year we did 402. This year we did 405, so we didn't really increase as much as I'd like. One of the reasons is there were 3 Wednesdays this year where the Park District had another event going on where we had to be closed. So that knocked out about 75 to 80 returns probably that we couldn't do. And so we would have been close to what that prior year level is. We're looking to hopefully add 1 or 2 more tax stations for next year so that we can increase, because we always we tend to fill up except for maybe the first couple weeks of the year. You know, the folks really fill it up. Our schedule gets filled up pretty quickly with, we have a lot of repeat customers. You know, the goal of our program is to service seniors with a particular emphasis on low-income seniors. And when you look at the average gross income of the folks that we serve here in Elk Grove, it was a little over $35,000. That's about a $2,000 increase from the year before, but there's been inflation, so that really kind of explains that amount. But then if you dig deeper in the numbers, 27% of the folks that we help had an adjusted gross income less than $10,000. Another 20% had between $10,000 and $20,000, and then another 20% were between $20,000 and $50,000, so, or 27%. So roughly 75% of the folks we saw had AGIs less than $50,000. So I think that really goes to show that we're serving that low-income senior, and they really appreciate the service we get. Total refunds we issued to those 405 returns we did was $381,000. The age demographic was over 89% of the people we saw, at least one of the taxpayers was over 60 years old. So again, that goes, we don't have an age restriction. We're not allowed to discriminate based on age, so we'll see any age, but it really shows, you know, our targeted audience is going after our seniors. And certainly probably everybody who's a member of the senior center comes to us for to have their taxes done.
That's good.
And then as far as demographics of where folks live, 69% of the people we saw lived in Elk Grove, and another 20% lived right in the surrounding communities like Tasca, Bensonville, Schaumburg, and Roselle. So it's really most, you know, at the end of the year, we start seeing, you know, people who have procrastinated and they're looking around for an appointment. Then that's when we tend to see folks coming from other places and way out in South Cook County, or North Cook County, or DuPage or something. But for the most part, we're servicing the folks that live in this community here. I would like to say, I can't say enough about the staff at the Park District. They make it really easy for us to do our, you know, our role. You know, it's you know, the scheduling they do. They provide me with a Google scheduling that I can look at ahead of time. I can check and see who all those taxpayers are and see what we did for them last year, so we're prepared when we come in, who to assign the people to, and that. They really make it nice. Gina does a great job of working with us, and George, who we're always telling him, hey, could you change the table arrangement? Could you move this here or there? And he always remembers, and the next day, everything is set up the way we want it, and we always are throwing these little things out there that he's more than happy to help us with. Because I know the space we use, one of the main spaces we use, used to be called the computer room, and we kind of had it to ourselves. Well, this year, we're sharing it with the crafts, arts and crafts, and knitting folks. So it has to be broken down and put back up a few times a week. They go back and forth, taking the whole thing apart, and putting it back together. And they do a great job doing that. And then, you know, I would like to thank all of you, members of the board, for giving us the space. You know, we're really happy with it. I work with the other sites in our district, and I can say that the Park District makes it a joy for us to work with. There's no hassles or anything like that, which is really nice. With that, I'll open up any questions you have for Fred or myself.
I just have one, Roger. Are 100% of the returns done by you guys electronically? And if they are, does AARP in Washington, what type of safeguards that you guys have in your programs to make sure that nobody can hack into the system?
That's a good question. We require it to be electronic unless for some reason we can't. So of those 405 returns we did this year, roughly around 390 were electronic. The balance were paper, and the only reason they were paper was something like when a taxpayer gets a letter from the IRS that says, hey, for identity, you were a victim of identity theft with your social security number, you've got to supply this PIN number when you transmit your return. Well, if they don't give that to us and people get this letter from the IRS or in there, who knows where it goes. We transmit it, we get a reject, and the reject code says, hey, you were supposed to have a PIN, and almost virtually all those paper returns where people had to come back in and we said, hey, you don't have your PIN, they couldn't find it. We said, okay, we're gonna mail in your return. Now, as far as security, we only use AARP supplied Chromebooks, okay? And, you know, and it's all, and we can only do taxes using it through our, the router they supply. So even though we're hooked into the wired internet at the park district, it goes through our router. That's the only way we can prepare returns and access the returns and the information. It's all cloud-based, and I can say that it's much more secure than paper returns. And we always tell taxpayers when they have refunds, we say, give us your bank account, get a direct debit, get a deposit, because getting a paper check, you're more likely to have an issue with it, whether it takes much longer to receive your refund, but it's also, those get stolen more than, as long as you have the right information, and you give us the right banking information, you're gonna get your money faster and more securely. But we've been, AARP's been doing this for over 50 years now, and I would, I do my tax return on the software. It's very secure.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, once again, I just want to thank you on behalf of the board for your volunteerism, and I know the seniors at the senior center there really appreciate it and use the service, and it's a big benefit to the community, so.
We enjoy it immensely. There's a lot of characters, you see.
Yeah.
But it's fun. They bring in us in donuts and
Yeah.
you see the same folks every year that come in and they really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much.
Sure thing. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks again, Fred. Thank you. 20 years. Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, you don't want to do capitals or finance role?
All right, Ralph, it's coaches now,
Ralph.
not the golf course?
Coaches.
Okay.
Okay. We know our social business here now? I didn't see that, I didn't see that on the agenda here.
He sent me a text. He
Little plug
changed
for
things.
coaches, okay. Okay, recommendations for acceptance and approval. I need a motion to approve a 39-year lease with the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District for continued use of approximately 28.72 acres adjacent to the John E. Egan Water Reclamation Plant in Schaumburg, Illinois, for the Fox Run driving range usage.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, got a motion second. Question, first of all, I guess, Tom, do you have any, just to make sure we legally can enter into a 39-year lease, I assume?
Yes, we can.
We're allowed to do that,
Yes.
correct? Okay. There's no restrictions on,
It's under a specific statutory section in the Illinois revised statutes. It'll go out to 50 years.
up to 50? Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah,
Other-
question.
Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
No, Bill.
Well, reading the actual payment that we make, so in the contract, especially with Exhibit E, which is a summary, the annual rent under lease is $5,000 or 25% of net profits. Net profits derived from the use of the site, whichever is greater. So it would behoove us to have as much expenses brought to the driving range that would actually be legitimate. So I don't want to really do it on air, but at some point, are we going to talk about, does a part of marketing salary go to the driving range? Does a part of Mark go to the driving range? When can we shift, does the executive director, can we shift some salary even if it's 2%? So at what point can we legitimately, capital and projects, $350,000 that we're going to spend there, does that get amortized so that we can actually bring down the stuff? So can you address what we can charge to bring down the net profit without, doing something that's...
We get depreciation, but Brad will explain it.
Correct.
I'm thinking more of, it's salaries, or what can we bring that are truly legit, that MWRD's not gonna come back and say, okay, now you guys are just, nitpicking.
I have, from our previous lease, we've had conversations with MWRD on what is acceptable expense and what is not. The capital expense that we are considering would be depreciable and an allowed expense. Salaries, FICA expenses that we honor, because that's a separate fund, those are allowable expenses. supplies. Administrative, I think some of the marketing, in the past, we haven't done a lot of marketing, now that's something that we could look at increasing if that's needed, but yes, all allowable expenses are taken off of the rent calculation.
Well, Attorney Hoffman knows, and he'd say it himself, he's conservative by nature when it comes to, doing everything the right way. But at the same time, you may ask him a question, he says, don't do this, where the board may roll the dice and say, it's a legit expense. We are marking the place, or Ben spends 1% of his yearly time on there. Let's charge it. So that's why I bring up that point. Why not have somebody else pick up 25% of our costs? And then you said the same thing, Tom, where why do we want to spend $350,000 if there's no potential benefit, in revenue? Forget about, aesthetics and that. But sometimes I try to balance that, 25% of whatever we spend is really being done by MWRD at the same time. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions on this? And I just wanted to clarify, and then you put it in the memo here. As far as the contract itself, there were no changes other than
The year.
the year.
The
Is that
years.
correct?
Right. Tom confirmed that, and I can.
So that is correct? Because we didn't get a copy of the previous contract. So we weren't sent in our packet a copy of the previous contract.
The 10-year
Other than Ben telling us it's the same.
Right.
I want to confirm that in fact, the contract that we're approving tonight is the same, other than the changing the third, the years.
Term.
That's
Term.
basically true.
Okay,
I remember the first one too.
okay. Any other questions? Okay, we got a motion, we got a second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner Walls?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes. Looking forward to 39 more years of driving range in Elk Grove. Okay, next, acceptance
Yeah,
of
I'll
the
be
bid
dead,
from
thank you.
Halloran and Yauch Incorporated of Lake Forest, Illinois, for the 2023 driving range irrigation project in the amount of $59,100.
So moved.
Second.
Kept quick.
We got a motion and a second. Any questions? I just had a question. How come we only got one bid on this?
We only got one bid last year.
There's
as
no
well.
other irrigation bid places?
I don't know. We've sent it out to multiple people.
Is this the same company?
It
that
is the
did
same company
golf
that did it
course?
last year as well.
And the course.
And the golf course?
Correct, yeah, so we have the relationship with them.
They're familiar with our payment terms.
There's a lot of irrigation companies that do golf irrigation. They're really limited as to who is attracted to that type of irrigation project.
Okay. So the irrigation for driving range and golf course is different than normal sprinklers or whatever?
It's bigger, it's more substantial, yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Walls?
Yes?
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes. Item C, approval of pay request from Upland Design Limited for professional services of the Marshall Park redevelopment project in the amount of $9,658.72.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, motion second. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner Walls?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes. Next is approval of the Rocco Vino concession contract for 3 years to include proposed concession profit, percentage of 14% for each of the years in 2023, 2024, and 2025 for the Rainbow Falls and Pirates Cove.
So moved. Second.
Okay, any discussion on this?
I know, I gotta go first. Nothing.
Okay, I know we had a lot of discussion in our committee of the whole regarding the percentage, because the percentage has gone down from our previous year contract.
Percentage of the profit share.
Percentage of profit sharing has gone down. However, Rocco Vinos was the only bidder that bid on the project. And over they've been the only ones we've had there since the inception of Rainbow Falls. So although I think we're not crazy about the decrease in the percentage, they have done an excellent job for us in the past, and the residents seem to enjoy it. We don't get complaints from their service provided at these two facilities. So although I'm not happy with it, I'm going to vote yes on this. I don't know. Any discussion, any of the commissioners, any other comments that they want to share from our committee of the whole?
I'm also disappointed in lowering the percentage, but there's validity out there. The fact that this board, with or without staff's approval, does allow the regular patron to bring in their own food. You have to weigh that against Rocco Vino's understanding that that's why it's probably a lower percentage, because we do put a restriction on them. So it's a balancing act for this board and staff to weigh the two concerns that we're gonna allow the regular people to bring in sandwiches, chips, drinks, while you're having somebody trying to make a profit by servicing the rest of the residents that don't bring that in. So it's a tough vote always.
Yeah, and I know that was some of the reasons that were given, that why some of the other bidders didn't want to bid on it, because we do allow food to come in, but this board has always supported our residents bringing in sandwiches and like a little picnic lunch, rather than, give them the option of concessions or bringing in food. And I think we all agree that we want to continue that. So I agree that that does affect the number of people that might bid on the project that we have to consider. But
I personally am not a huge fan of bringing in food because it's morphed into something completely different with the way you can get food easily delivered now. I'd be all in favor of us looking at like, hey, nothing can be delivered. It has to come in with you at the time, right? You can't have Uber drivers, Uber Eats.
yeah, I don't think that was
Whatever.
ever our intent. It was to
Right,
allow
but it is
outside
happening.
people coming in. It was for the families that, came there, Elk Grove residents. They wanted to bring their kids over and have a sack lunch for them and not to pay $2 or $3, $5.
Yeah, but now
You're
we're getting
ready,
the
I'll
full-fledged
agree with you.
pizzas
Yeah.
and.
But that may be something I think we need to
I'll
look
agree
at
with you,
as far
John,
as-
when you're ready to move that forward, to off air or
Yeah,
at a
I mean,
committee of the whole, I think it's
And I
fine.
think whatever we should do, we should make it easier for our staff to patrol. I think that would be an easy one, like no deliveries whatsoever. I don't know, Tiffany, what do you think? I know what you think, but what about, let's start about deliveries.
How do you feel like the number of deliveries is right now?
Other than the staff.
Yeah, I think it's mostly staff.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, we're kind of catching staff off guard here, so.
I mean,
all
I'm
right.
not saying they don't try to walk in with a box of Little Caesars pizza, but they don't, I mean, we're at capacity so often, they're not walking out the doors and coming back in because they can't.
You're right.
I'm just saying, it might be something if we keep getting, in your terms, disappointed with the lower margin that we get out of that, that might be something we might have to look at, and maybe that's something where you would get more competitive pricing.
Yeah.
Not for this year, but let's see where it goes.
Yeah, I think from staff's perspective, once again, I don't want to catch you on the spot here, but I think you've heard from three of us that we're really not in favor of people ordering in other food to bring in. The intent was for them to be able to bring a sack lunch or whatever.
It's almost really an all or nothing thing though, to be honest. You
Yeah.
know, we've tried the cooler spaces, that doesn't work, it's very hard to enforce. It's either no outside food or beverage, or we allow outside food and beverage. I mean, it's really hard to police, it really is.
Well, I think first you have to have a rule with signage, and you maybe have at least half the people that will follow the rules, so it may limit the number of people that do it, the offenders. You may not catch them all, but I think it still starts with what's our philosophy on what should be able to be brought in. Let's have a rule that meets that philosophy, and then we'll worry about enforcement, another day. I think you have to have a rule, not just say we're not gonna do it because we can't enforce it. So, more discussion on that as we approach the summer. Any other discussion on the contract itself? And 3 years is what we've had in the previous years, has been 3 years, correct? Okay. No other questions? Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner Walls?
Yes?
Commissioner O'Malley?
A soft yes.
President Cook?
Yes. Okay, next item, and last item, approval of athletic advisory board member. I move that these individuals be appointed to serve a 2-year term as an advisory member of the following board: Elk Grove Soccer Youth Football and Cheerleading Board, Mallory Hullage.
Well,
Hullage?
which one is it, soccer or
It's
football?
football.
Did I say soccer?
Well, that's
It's
written
football.
on there.
Oh, sorry, it's
I sent
football.
the
You're
correction
right.
out.
I'm sorry.
Yes, you
I
did.
got the wrong one, yep. So, correction,
And I
Elk Grove
played.
Youth Football and Cheerleading.
Cheer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you make a motion?
No, but I will, so move.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any questions about this individual, or? Okay, roll call, please. Roll call. We got a motion second.
Commissioner Wells?
Yes?
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes,
President Cook?
Yes. Okay, community reports, capital projects, Commissioner O'Malley.
We did not have a committee meeting, but I came in a little bit early so that I could pass some information on to the rest of the commissioners, keeping your valuable time, not at this meeting. So it was just me and Mark BSing. Points of interest to the other commissioners, maybe to the general public, is we talked about Chelmsford Marshall Park. Obviously, Hacienda is doing all the work. I want to make sure the residents and a couple of commissioners know the park's not going to be open for the general public until the year 2024. The major hangup is the playground dynamo that is 8 to 9 months out from supplying it. So they can go ahead and start the project in, say, July, and keep everything busy due to the extent of all the different characteristics we have, the exercise path, the basketball, the splash pad, and hopefully by October, it'll come in, but there's a chance that it doesn't. So bottom line is, the renovation will take place starting in July of this year of Chelmsford Marshall, but it won't be ready until the spring of 2024. Which then brought us to a conversation on Windermere. Hopefully, they'll bring a conception plan to the board with prices, and we'll continue to vote. John, I know you wanted an increase in the budget for the playground equipment, which I agreed with you, and there was a consensus on that. It's made its way back to staff, so the only difference here is why we're not concerned about it is, again, it was Dynamo supplying the Chelmsford playground equipment with a long lead time. Mark has talked about having a shorter lead time with other options between Burke and a couple other vendors, so hopefully that project will be completed in the fall. And that's
By the fall? End of fall?
Middle of the fall. He's not, well, it hasn't come to us with a conceptual plan, so it's hard to, I don't want to, put a deadline on them when it hasn't made it to
It'll
us
be
yet.
open in the spring of 2024.
Yeah, I think that's safe.
Okay. Then, John, at the committee of the whole, you brought up Chelmsford Lights. We did talk about that. The understanding is, so again, we're on television so that nobody can deny what was said. The board has directed staff to install lights for the soccer field this year. There is a discussion on if we approve pickleball courts for Marshall Chelmsford, is there an advantage to bringing the lights to the pickleball area in the year 2023? That'll be discussed. Mark is meeting with Musco, which is the lighting contractor, to bring some numbers back to us, both on the soccer and then potential pickleball. And if anybody else decides that they want to add another light, again, Mark gets it. We have a neighborhood there, so I talked about, well, do you put one by the splash pad? Do you put one by the playground equipment? You obviously have to be delicate. So right now, the discussion is staying between the soccer field and the pickleball. We talked about the 140 Lively building. As you guys know, we are spending $500,000 to do the roof. It's a 4 to 5 week project, and we are on week number 2 right now. So that's taken a big part of the capital's budget, so that is going on. The Osborne Park, which is our playground north of Oakton Street, south of Higgins, the renovation is ongoing right now. The dugout covers, which will be close to the start of the baseball, softball season. Might take a week or two into the season, but it is progressing. I also asked Mark, how is his staffing levels? You know what, it's been hard. Are the capitals affected due to his staffing levels? And he's down a couple specialists, so he's hired one and he thinks he's at the right headcount moving forward, so there shouldn't be any delay on capital projects due to staffing. Then I asked him if we were getting ready for Pirates Cove and Rainbow Falls, will we be opening? How is staff looking at that opening for Memorial Day? And he told me that the fun house has not been painted yet. That's one of the last things they have to do. There's not a whole lot other than the normal maintenance to get Pirates Cove opening. And then we just ran out of time. So it wasn't really an official meeting. That's just some of the discussion that Mark and I had. Ben came in the room to clarify a couple different subjects. And like I said, we'll probably have an official meeting when Bob and I can get together. And we'd like to at least do it 3 times. There's some humor going on over there. And I understand. But at the same time, I would like to at least do it quarterly, but this will have to suffice for now, and we'll try to have something at the end of May or early June on how the capital projects are proceeding. That concludes that topic.
Any questions for Commissioner O'Malley? Okay, Finance Committee, Commissioner Walls?
Corporate fund, we finally got our property taxes, is that correct?
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, we've got them now into April, but the
Yeah.
numbers are gonna still be affected. for
Yeah,
March.
so that was 1.78 million, and then year to date, we're still under budget by, like 800,000, and that's still more property taxes,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
Okay, so not all is lost. Recreation fund is $846,388 in property tax collected. Fees and admissions was $297 compared to budget of $274, so that's good for us. Program fees were $489,000 compared to a budget of $515, so that kind of balances each other's out. And year to date, $312,000 compared to a budget of $475. And then the golf fund, 478 rounds in March, which I think that's pretty legit, isn't it, for March?
Yeah, typically we'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take it. It's
Right,
less than
that's
last
kind
year,
of a
but
free
we'll
month,
take it.
right?
I think
So-
last
We
year,
had that
last year was
really
better
hot-
weather for the
Yeah.
March. We
We
had
had
a higher.
consistent
It was
weather.
flipped in April
Yeah.
was really bad.
Yeah, buck off for April,
But
'cause it's
April-
not looking good now.
Oh, I think the April
April's
numbers will
really
be
good.
really good.
We're
But that
losing
week,
weekends though.
Yeah, I would agree, but.
Well, anyway,
even last weekend, we had
478,
a lot of people out.
yeah, 478 rounds in March, which is good. Fees and admissions are 85,000 compared to a budget of 77. All expense categories are under budget. That's everything under the golf course umbrella. Year to date, we're negative 113,000 compared to a budget of 182. So that is pretty good. And does anybody have any questions? If not, that is my report.
Okay.
President Cook, can you hang on 1 second? I wanted to finish off my conversation. Mark, is there anything that I missed or misconstrued based on our conversation? I always like to ask that because I'm just writing down notes, but as you heard me give the report to the commissioners, is there anything that we talked about that would add value right now? Okay.
Okay, any other questions for Commissioner Walls? Okay, Committee of the Whole, we met tonight at 6:30, discussed the policy and procedure manual updates that were just recently done. No major updates to the policy manual other than legal and so forth. We also discussed the Fox Range Driving Range project. Mark's gonna be working on getting some pricing. We have about a $525,000 budget right now for that project, and so we're gonna get some numbers to the amenities. I think we all agree kind of with the concept of what Williams came up with. It's just a matter of how much money do we want to sink into the driving range, and what kind of investment return will we get on that investment. So we're gonna get some solid numbers and look at that for the future. We also discussed the Rocco Vino concession agreement, which we talked about earlier, and voted on tonight. Last meeting on April 13th, the Committee of the Whole met and discussed the fitness center improvements that are being made there and are being planned to be made there in the future. We also discussed the pickleball courts and lighting, as Bill mentioned earlier. And I think that was it for last week. That's all I have. Any questions? Or did I miss anything? Okay. Athletic Committee, Commissioner Carlson.
Okay, so house softball, teams started practicing on April 8th, and the games will begin on May 6th. Softball has 201 players enrolled. Tiffany, is that an increase from last year, or?
It's down by just a couple,
Okay,
like 2 or 3 players.
all right. Travel baseball, all teams have started games and tournaments. House baseball, spring baseball is underway, and games have begun for our oldest group, pony level. All other games will begin May 6th. The final count for baseball registration is 221 players. Is that up?
Right around the same.
Same, okay. Football and cheer. Elk Grove Youth Football will be wrapping up its spring 7-on-7 season Sunday, May 7th. Spring cheerleading ended its season with the Cheer Madness competition on Saturday, April 15th. Football and cheer will have a registration open house event at the pavilion on Saturday, May 6th from 9 to 1 p.m. for their fall season. Spring soccer, spring recreational soccer games began on April 15th, and this season there are 286 players. Spring travel soccer games and tournaments have begun. There are 165 players in travel. How are those numbers compared to?
They're up slightly from last year.
Okay. Basketball, the 2023 season ended in March, and they are working on plans for the 2024 season. That concludes the report.
Okay.
Nice report, Tiffany, on this
Yeah,
guy.
thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Carlson? Okay, golf course report. Mr. Carlson, you're up again.
Okay. Upcoming events at the Fox Run, the Rob Post Band will be May 5th from 7 to 11. No tickets are needed. There's no cover charge. The last time it was a great event when they came.
December 23rd.
We're dubbing it the eve before the eve.
Okay. I like it. Yeah. Yeah, that was a good time. The Miller Time Spring Shootout is Friday, May 12th. 11:30 shotgun start. Sign up at.
Yeah, Fox Run, yep.
Can you do it online, or is it
No,
just
you have to
gotta
do
be
it,
in
you can
person?
do it over the phone, yes, or in person.
Okay, then we're having a new event on Saturday, May 20th. We have a comedian, Jay Harris, that will be performing. This is a ticketed event, and it's $50 per table of 4?
Correct.
Okay. And there'll be light appetizers and I assume some drink specials and,
Correct.
okay.
The appetizers are included
Yeah, that
in the
would
price.
Minimum.
Oh, there, yeah, that part.
Yeah, comedy club, 2-drink minimum, right?
Right, absolutely.
Gotta get everyone loosened up.
You said limit.
I said minimum. Sorry, wrong one.
That concludes my report.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brad, do you want to talk at all, or not so much? I saw that marketing put, I read the bands that were coming in the Daily Herald, I thought. A nice Fox Run flyer, so it is worth mentioning right now for people to keep an eye on. I think it's every 2 weeks you plan on having music at Fox Run during the summer. At least that's what it looked like on the schedule.
It is shaping up to be roughly every 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, I saw the
Alex and his
Fridays
team
and
have
stuff
put
like
a
that.
nice little schedule together, little summer series is kind of what he's doing, and they're all different. Some acoustic, some a little heavier, some full.
Yeah, I saw Nicole
bands.
Devine
Correct.
and then a couple other bands and
So,
stuff like that.
yeah.
So I want to just keep publicizing that on air if we can. Like I said, every group has their own little following. Yes, the Rob Post Band is local, so they have a bigger following. I don't know some of the other names off the top of my head right now, but it is worth mentioning that we plan on having music out there at least twice a month. So
Correct.
please be on the lookout, and I'm sure some email blasts will be going out, etc.
Correct.
Okay. Next is the youth committee.
Hi, Scotty.
Commissioner, let's see, Carlson.
Yeah. Go figure.
I promise to be your last
It's
one.
not fair.
Okay, so the scholarships, the deadline is May 5th to get your application in, and they're available at Village Hall, here at the Park District, and at Conant and Elk Grove High School. So we encourage everyone to get there. You can't get it if you don't try, so. Also, they've just come out with the Summer Blast Pool Parties for the teens, and that's 6 through,
I have the dates, I gave it to you.
no,
Age group, I think all the way up
Oh,
to
hey,
senior,
grades
right?
6 through 11, it's
6
on
through
that
11,
paper.
okay.
Mhm.
And Friday, July 15th and Friday, August 4th, 8:15 to 10:15 p.m. The Elk Grove Youth Committee will sponsor and supervise 2 free teen-only pool parties this summer at Rainbow Falls. Teens will have the entire park to themselves, except for us watching. And that's for those teens entering 6 through 11. Okay. That concludes my report.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fully supervised with lifeguards, not just you watching.
No,
The park is fully staffed.
Okay, order, please. Yeah, Scott, I'd like to go back on the scholarships for those, who, every year, we've been giving these scholarships out. And you really have a great chance of winning the scholarship, because the numbers, is what, 3 to 1? I mean, there's pretty good odds of getting the scholarship.
Yeah,
if you qualify.
We'd like to see more sign up. I don't understand why more don't, to try. I mean,
Yeah, and you can go on either the village webpage or the Park District webpage, get the application. It's not academic, it's, of course, that can be part of it, but it's also community
Yeah,
service.
it's more community
and
service
And volunteering is, volunteerism within the community. So, like I said, there's several scholarships that are giving out, and it's a great opportunity and a great chance that you'll get it.
Well, and the process, it's like a blind, we don't have names.
Right.
We just have the application and the names and, you know, they redact the school too, but sometimes you can tell the school. But the names, we have no idea who they are. So you know, that has nothing to do with it. It's just the story they're telling. And, like I said, community service is a big part of it.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. Next is the Adult Center Committee, which is mine. I did attend the meeting on April 18th, 2023. They've got a busy summer coming up. They got a lunch cruise and White Fence Farm trip planned. Spring Bazaar on May 11th and May 12th. They have luncheon, they have a fashion show luncheon, either coming up or just had it. And then also they're having, our fitness manager is going to one of the lunches to talk about the Silver Sneakers program and discount program at the fitness center. And we also had Scott Sachs from the Parks Foundation attended the meeting and talked to them about the different things that the Park Foundation is involved with and how often we meet, searching for volunteers, as well as let them know what we do in the community. We also talked, the foundation is going to be sponsoring a luncheon for the seniors. I believe they decided on a Christmas luncheon that's going to come up in December. So, good news there, and I think that is all I had to report on that. Any questions? Old business. Any commissioners have any old business? No. Any new business? No new business. Okay, payment of the bills. I need a motion for payment of the bills for April 11, 2023. P cards in the amount of $154,764.60. April 13th, 2023, the amount of $267,223.20. And on April 20th, 2023, in the amount of $108,582.03.
So moved.
Second?
Any questions about the bills? Roll call, please.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wells?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes. And lastly is motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Carlson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wells?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Kathy, yes.
President Cook?
Yes, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Not yet. Rob.